Hello, geometry class, and welcome to this video talking about surface area of circular solids. So the three things that we're going to look at today are cylinders, cones, and spheres. And the sphere is kind of unique. So the surface area of the sphere is 4 pi r squared, and there's a really cool derivation as to where that comes from. We don't have time to go into it today, and I don't think we're going to be able to get to that this year. I might post that later in the week just so you can kind of see it and understand it. But it's not necessary to understand it. Just know that the surface area of a sphere is 4 pi r squared. Okay, for a cylinder, a cylinder is a prism with a circular base. So the surface area of a cylinder is the same as the surface area of a prism, 2b plus pH. However, we know that the base of a cylinder is a circle, so I can replace the b with pi r squared, and the perimeter of the base is the perimeter of a circle, or the circumference, which is 2 pi r. And what I like to do is at this point recognize that I have a 2 pi r and a 2 pi r, and I can factor that out to make a much easier formula, 2 pi r times r plus h. Just keep in mind, though, that this original formula that we wrote here, 2 pi r squared plus 2 pi r h, is our 2b plus our lateral area. Okay, so this 2 pi r h is the lateral area of the cylinder. And that's going to come in handy, as we'll see later, when we're looking at two shapes that are put together that we need to find the surface area of. And I really only need the lateral area of the cylinder. So I'm only going to be focusing on that 2 pi r h. So just keep that in the back of your head, or keep that on your notes in front of you as we go through it. For a cone is a pyramid with a circular base. So my surface area formula of b plus 1/2 pl still applies. However, instead of b, I can replace b with pi r squared because it's a circle. And I can replace p with 2 pi r because, again, that's the circumference of a circle. Now, you'll notice that the 1/2 and the 2 will cancel out. So this pi rl, that is my lateral area of a cone. Now, once again, just like we did in the cylinder, I'm going to factor out a pi and an r from both terms and be left with a simplified pi r times r plus l. L, of course, is the slant height, just like it is with a pyramid. So I have my formula for cylinder, for cone, and for sphere. So why don't we use those formulas in examples? Find the total area of each figure. And again, it's your book saying total area. I use surface area. We're going to leave our answer in terms of pi, of course. So for number 1, my surface area is going to be, it's a cylinder, so it's 2 pi r times r plus h. I know r is 5 and h is 6, so I can say it's 2 times pi times 5 plus 6, which is 10 times 11, which is 110 pi. There are no units in the diagram, so I'm not going to give any units in my answer. 110 pi. For the cone, my surface area is pi r times r plus l. We have a radius of 5 and a slant height of 6, so we have everything we need. So we get pi times 5 plus 6, which is 5 times 11, or 55 pi. Again, no units in the diagram, so no units in my answer. For the cone, for the sphere, this is the easiest one. It's just 4 circles, 4 times pi times my radius squared. And my radius is 5, so I get 4 times pi times 25. I get 100 pi. Okay, so just a very basic explanation as to how these formulas are used. You see all 3 of them there. The total height of the tower shown is 10 meters. Okay, so they're giving us the surface area of everything. 1 liter of paint will cover an area of 10 square meters. So I'm sorry, they're not giving us the total area. I read that wrong. I'm thinking, oh man, this question's a lot tougher than I thought it was. No, it's the total height is 10. Okay, so what that really is saying is that the height of this cone is going to be 3. Okay, so if I just draw that triangle out a little bit more, I think you see what's coming. Anyway, 1 liter of paint will cover an area of 10 square meters. You have no idea how nervous I just got, thinking, oh man, now I'm going to have to really think about this, that I'm going to make mistakes and I'm going to have to go back and do this whole video all over again when I just explain stuff. And And I'm not editing this out, so it's just a little peek behind the curtain. Anyway, if 1 liter of paint will cover an area of 10 square meters, how many 1 liter cans of paint are needed to paint an entire tower? Hint, first find the total area, use 3.14 for pi, and then we'll convert it into number of paint cans. Okay, so what I want to do is find the total area of this tower. Now, I don't know if we need to find the area of the bottom here. It says the total area, so I'm going to go ahead and... Now, if it's 10 meters tall, we're not going to be painting the bottom of this. Okay, so so I'm just going to make one change here. I don't want the surface area of the cone. Yeah, I'm still not editing this. I want the lateral area of the cone. So what that means is I want, this part of the cone, I just don't want the base. And for the cylinder, I want the rolled up rectangle part of the cylinder. I don't want either base. So the surface area, the total area of this tower is going to be the lateral area of the cone and the lateral area of the cylinder. I'm going to ignore both bases. And so how are we going to do this? So I guess I'm going to have to adjust this too. So instead of pi r times r plus L, that was the surface area. I'm just going to take pi r L plus 2 pi r h. And I don't need this parentheses. Yeah, I don't need r plus h. I just need 2 pi r h like that. Okay, great. Still not editing this. Okay, so now let's go ahead and find the surface area of this thing. Pi r L plus 2 pi r h. We know the radius. It's buried here under all of these markers. Okay, it's the radius is 4. And we know the height of the cylinder is 7, and the slant height, okay, I'm sure you knew this before even I did. The slant height was 5. So we have everything we need. So my surface area is going to be pi times 4 times 5 plus 2 times pi times 4 times 7. Okay, so I'm going to get 20 pi plus 56 pi. And that is a total of 76 pi. Okay, great. Now that is the surface area. Now they weren't just asking for the surface area. It said that 1 liter cans of paint will cover 10 square meters. Okay, so let's figure out how many square meters this is. 76 pi, if I go to my calculator, 76 times 3.14, it said to use that, is 238.64. So we can say this is approximately 238.64 square meters. Divide that by 10, and I'm going to get around 24. We're going to need 24 cans of paint. That is a lot of paint, but then again, that's a huge tower if it's 10 meters tall. Okay, the last question we're going to do today is finding the surface area of this shape here. This looks like a piece of a cylinder that's been cut out, or maybe like if you imagine like a giant cake and someone removed a giant slice of cake. But really, the way to think about this is it's a prism. It's a prism. I have 2 parallel congruent bases. So I'm going to treat this like it's a prism. And the area of my base is going to be the area of this sector here. You know, that Pac-Man looking thing. And if you think about it, since it's a right angle, it's 3/4 of a circle. So it's 3/4 of 36 pi or 27 pi. That's the area of my base. The perimeter, it's also 3/4 of the circle. So that's 3/4 of 12 pi or 9 pi. But we also have to add these 2 radii. That's part of the perimeter also. So it's 9 pi plus 12. Height's easy. Height's 17. Okay. So my surface area is going to be 2 times 27 pi plus the perimeter, 9 pi plus 12 times 17. Okay, so I get 54 pi plus 17 times 9 pi is 153 pi. And 17 times 12 is 170. And 34 is 204. So that brings me to a final answer of 207 pi plus 204. That is my final answer. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.